American Sports Cavalcade. A panorama of speed, color, drama, and excitement. The American Sports Cavalcade.
The outdoor life, the crisp morning air, breakfast being prepared over the Coleman stove. Camping, well, it's become a key part of motorsports today. The fans arrive the night before the race and they spend their time talking with one another and trying to find out who will be tomorrow's champion. Hello, I'm Paul Page, and there is no finer camping than at Brainerd, Minnesota. Here, Brainerd International Raceway and SCCA Racing. 10 turns, 3 miles, a challenging circuit. And to meet the drivers and crews, let's go to Steve Evans.
Paul, I'm sure you've noticed, as I have, that many of the campers in the infield here at BIR this weekend unload their gear out of sporty little trucks. In fact, the popularity of sport trucks is so great that some of the manufacturers last year sold more trucks than they did their cars. And now the Sports Car Club of America has come up with a separate road racing series just for trucks. It's called the Coors Racetruck Challenge. And we're going to bring you that action today. It's their third race this season. We'll see 16 trucks. They're lining them up right now from 8 different manufacturers. And also today, we will show you highlights from a wild race that took place yesterday. The 6-hour Escort Endurance Series featuring cars as fast as Corvettes and as slow as 4-cylinder front-wheel drivers. But car or truck, they all face one monster of a racetrack. Right, Paul?
That's right, Steve. It is the second longest road course in North America, the longest being Elkhart Lake at 4.2 miles. Brainerd International is 3 miles, 10 turns, with one very, very long main straightaway, nearly 1 mile long.
Earlier this season, you may remember seeing Elliott Forks Robinson win the Bendix Trans Am race at this very same track. Well, in morning warm-ups of that winning day, Elliott took us for a ride around BIR so that we could see what he sees to the windscreen of that 944 Turbo Porsche.
And this is looking out the front window as he makes his turn from the pit lane exit a little more than halfway down the long main straightaway. Now, nearly a mile, and the first 2 turns are sweepers. They're the kind of turns that make you reach down and grab the bottom of the steering wheel and suck in your breath.
And the racers will tell you that the scariest turn here at this track is turn number 1 because you're carrying so much speed. In the case of Elliott's car, over 175 miles per hour. Make a mistake here in turn 1 and you can crash big time.
No braking involved here. You just keep the foot planted and feel the car come up onto its tiptoes. Then it straightens out, and immediately you're making a dive into another sweeper to the right. That's turn 2. And again, all you do is keep the foot down and hope the car stays on the road.
And no time to catch your breath as you exit turn number 2. Just a very quick little straightaway up to yet another right-hander. Turn number 3, about 160 degrees. Out of turn 3, you grab 1 gear, possibly 2. Then you encounter a left-hander, and that is turn number 4.
Looking at turn 3, though, from EFR's point of view, down a couple of gears, on the brakes, bring the car over, and then let it slide out for that short little run. Immediately bring it back to the right-hand side of the course, dive to the left, grab a gear, and head into turn 4. You're entering now what is really the slowest section of the 3 miles at BIR. Off of turn 4, again, get back across the course very, very quickly because the next turn is another right-hander, and it is executed slowly as well. Then a short straight, back to a left-hander, turn number 6.
And here in turn number 5, we see Elliott sweeping off to the right, very gently using that steering wheel. He tapped the brakes going in, and now no more braking setting up for this next turn. He's already downshifted.
Through turn 6, back onto the power. A nice run now on the way to a combination of turns, 7, 8, and 9. You're looking at turn 8, and then a short straightaway links it to turn 9. You just let the car come all the way out, run along the edge, and then drive into that turn 9 right-hander.
Okay, we're riding with Elliott now. This is his point of view through turn number 7. A left-hander, and then quickly off to the right through turn number 8.
And hard back into the throttle. Let the speed build. Grab a gear. Head into turn 9 now. A right-hander and onto a long piece of track.
Now, turn number 1 may be the most difficult, but turn 10 could be the most critical. That's the sweeping right-hander you see right there, leading off onto the long straightaway. You've got to come out of there perfectly set up with all the RPMs you can muster to build the fastest speed possible. Here comes Elliott through turn 10, and in competition earlier, we've seen more spins fall here than anywhere else on the course.
Exactly right, Steve. And remember that final turn to the longest straightaway is the one that always makes the difference between a fast lap and one that is just rated as mediocre. Elliott Forbes Robinson on a tour of the 3 miles that are Brainerd International Raceway. A challenging course that awaits today's competition. It's a task that requires a great deal of balance and coordination. Windsurfing on an inland lake in Minnesota on a cloudy afternoon.
Welcome back to Brainerd, everyone. I'm Steve Evans along with Paul Page, and I've got some interesting news for you, maybe historical news. The Sports Car Club of America has just decided to invert the entire 16-truck field in this Coors Racetruck Challenge, and no one can recall them ever doing that with any kind of automobile or truck. So it's going to make for a tremendous show for us and for you, but I really wonder how Max Jones, who's the #1 qualifier in his Nissan truck, and Max now finds himself in the very last row. This is strange.
Yeah, it's a lot different. The last race we did it that way, and it's tough getting through the traffic, but I think it'll be okay. I'm kind of worried about some of the teams might have sandbagged here at Brainerd International.
Well, actually, the last time they inverted the front 6 rows, but alongside you, you have got your truck owner and teammate Spencer Lowe, and drafting, so important in this kind of racing. You'll team up, I'm sure.
Yeah, we plan on hooking up. I think drafting here has made a big factor with the wind blowing, too. You really got to work it as best you can to try to move up.
Okay, Max, good luck to you.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay. In fact, we talked about Spencer Lowe. Well, he's right alongside in the last row, his teammate Max. And Spencer, you may know as one of the world's greatest off-road racers, and now doing some other things. Spencer, Max says the drafting is very important, but I'd like to ask you, what is the difference in driving a truck opposed to, let's say, a car with the same approximate power?
Well, the trucks, surprisingly enough, are very similar to driving a car. I've driven some Escort cars, and we've got them down now where they're handling really well, and you can see from our times and how we've qualified that we're going pretty fast with these trucks.
You know, the big difference for you here at Brainerd is you don't have to worry about dodging donkeys and cows and assorted things in the Baja.
Yeah, that's right, and I don't have any dust to worry about either.
So, Spencer, for a change, will keep clean, his equipment and himself, and we're just about ready for the start of the Coors Racetruck Challenge. Paul?
So with the grid inverted, the fast guys starting in the back, number 26, starting 14th, the Toyota of Don Costar. Don hails out of Richfield, Michigan.
And alongside Costar is the Jeep Comanche, number 33, in the 13th starting position. That is Tommy Archer, a lot of experience in low-powered racing vehicles like this. From Duluth, Minnesota, a full-time race car driver. He spent a good 6 hours out here yesterday in that endurance race.
Starting in the 12th starting position on this inverted grid, number 5. That's a Dodge D50, and it's driven by Peter Farrell of Bethesda, Maryland.
And in the 11th position, also Duluth, Minnesota, is Tommy's brother Bobby. And you can bet, even though they've got a truck or two between them, they will try to link up in their famous draft. Bobby Archer, truck number 32 at Jeep Comanche.
The 10th starting position is the Ford Rancher, truck number 20. That is Steve Saline driving. He's been very busy this weekend. He also drove in the Enduro. He's from La Habra, California.
Starting in the 9th position, a very competitive Toyota, number 33, Steve Lewis. Steve hails from Woburn, Maine.
Well, the engines are now all started on these showroom stock trucks, a brand new series for the Sports Car Club of America. Earlier, Steve Evans had a chance to look them over and find out what a race truck is.
The machines in the Coors Racetruck Challenge Series are governed by a set of rules very similar to showroom stock automobiles. This is the Mitsubishi Mighty Max truck driven by Ray Kong. The first thing you'll notice, they select a model without air conditioning to rob power. Also, the engine is completely disassembled, not for modification purposes, but to just check for any flaws in assembly. Now, modifications are allowed in suspension. Here you can see the bushings have been changed. And also, you'll note, in the front, special racing shock absorbers here. And also, inside this caliper are pads of a material you'd find at the Indianapolis 500. Now, they can be no lower than 8 inches off the ground, measured from right here. Inside, you will find some modifications, primarily for safety. You can see Ray has a very comfortable racing-style seat. Also, there's a very sturdy full roll cage, an onboard fire extinguisher system, and Ray has also installed a special racing steering wheel, which required the horn to be relocated down here. Very handy in the turns when you got somebody slowing you down. Now at the rear, also the shocks have been changed, and also the drum brake shoes have been changed to a different material. The roll cage extends clear to the back of the bed, but something you won't find in your truck's bed is 198 pounds of lead. That's because the Mighty Max comes with an advertised horsepower of 109, and that's more than some of the competitors. So SCCA requires that they carry that handicap.
So the field of race trucks now set, ready to go. Jack Dysart sits on the pole. Alongside is Rick Stevens. Now remember, the field for these race trucks has been inverted. So the faster guys are back in the back. That'll make the first laps very interesting as they try to work their way up through the field on what is a wonderfully wide circuit. The 3 miles here at BIR with some very fast turns right at the start.
You heard Max Jones say when I talked to him that he hoped none of these trucks and their drivers had been sandbagging to start up front. Well, I don't think many of them knew it would be an inverted start anyway. And Paul, we have news from the Sports Car Club of America's technical department. There have been some disqualifications from yesterday's Escort Endurance race, including the winner in the SS class, Tommy and Bobby Archer. Their Corvette has been disqualified. In fact, the top 3 finishing Corvettes have been found flawed some way technically. So we have an entire new leaderboard.
With 3 new teams at the top of the order. Irisy and Hayner, McConnell and Jones in second, and Sapos and Cesare in third. Also in GT category, Nierop and Puskar still number 1, but King and Logan Blackburn come in second, and Reese and Hoyt in the 06 car finished up in third in GT. We'll be back with the start of the race trucks from BIR right after this.
Welcome back to Brainerd International Raceway. I'm Steve Evans along with Paul Page and 16 race trucks just about ready for the Coors Racetruck Challenge Series, the 3rd event in this brand new Sports Car Club of America venue. And on the pole, much to his surprise, Jack Dysart, truck number 29 in Isuzu. He was the slowest qualifier, but they've inverted the entire 16 truck field. He finds himself on the pole, up front and inside.
Jack Turpak, the starter, with a green flag, and we're racing at Brainerd. And look at this field spread out. They're now 5 abreast on this nearly mile-long pit straightaway at Brainerd. And one very wide, turn 1 just ahead. Already you can see the faster guys begin to sort out and come to the front. Dysart begins to drift backwards as Ray Kong in 87 has taken the lead.
They are 5 abreast heading down towards turn number 1 at about 110 to 115 miles an hour. Everybody pushing and shoving. Paul, it'll be a miracle if they all get through one. That is Ray Kong up front, the 87 Mitsubishi truck, scarlet and gray in color.
And Steve Saline's team looking good as one car jumps off the outside there and then back on the track. Everybody's safe through turn 1, through turn 2, and now it's Steve Saline in number 20, closing up to do battle with the leader, Ray Kong, and his teammate, Tim Evans, is sitting just behind him in 3rd place in the 19 truck.
And of the teams, Paul, they have the best chance of locking up in the draft first. That is Saline in the 20 truck and his partner, Tim Evans, in the 19 truck, just behind them. In position number 4 is the number 5 truck of Peter Farrell. Now look at Steve Saline. He is starting to take command up front with his teammate right behind him. And as we've heard the Archers say so consistently, you got to have the draft going. But Saline is running away from his dance partner, Paul, who's trying to get in there. Look at him bumping and running.
Well, Saline jumped into the lead, but in doing so, Ray Kong was able to slide into 2nd place. Now his partner, Tim Evans, would love to get around Kong and hook up with the leader. At the same time, the Dodge D50 team, that's the 4 truck of Steve Potter and the 5 truck of Peter Farrell, are trying to link up as well. Team play, very important in this event. As you see, there is Farrell in the number 5 truck trying to catch up to the back end of Tim Evans.
And Paul, these are all 4-cylinder rear-wheel drive pickup trucks. There's no front-wheel drivers out here or V6s, and they're all pretty evenly matched thanks in part to SCCA putting some ballast in some of them, including the Mitsubishi. But I'll tell you, Nissan has dominated the first 2 races of this series, but not so far, and not just because of an inverted start. They're struggling back there a little bit. That's Spencer Lowe and Max Jones way at the back.
So Steve Saleen in the Ford Ranger is out in front. Ray Kong is dropped into second place. And Saleen's teammate, Tim Evans, former Formula Ford driver from the Central Division, comes out of Detroit, Michigan, trying to catch up and link up with his teammate. But here they come again, 5 abreast onto the main straightaway. You're watching a battle for second place. That's Ray Kong right on the right border of your screen. And just behind him is Tim Evans. And look at this other combination as they get up right behind one another and try to push each other through. Farrell and Potter are also linked up there, trying to give each other the advantage of an elongated vehicle, which cuts through the air better if you have two, one right behind the other.
And we should point out, Paul, this is a 20-lap affair, or 60 laps from this 3-mile-around racetrack. And moving out is a truck number 34, really contending. Now is Steve Lewis for that second position, trying to take it away from Archer.
And they all are running the leader, Steve Saleen, down. Now they spread out. They try to split around Saleen. 4 go in 3 different trucks get around Saleen. Ray Kong picks up the lead, and then he almost loses it. That's Lewis that may have given him a tap. Tommy Archer is on the outside, and Saleen is now dropped from first all the way back to fourth. Ray Kong has the lead, but here comes Tommy Archer as he tries to force his way up through the center. Tommy Archer, can he pick up the lead now? Kong is on the inside. The 33 truck of Archer to the outside. Kong still has the lead, but Archer has the better position for the next corner, and Archer goes into the lead in the red 33 truck.
And that forces Ray Kong, the 87 Mitsubishi, back into the second spot. The 34 truck, Steve Lewis Toyota, he is settled into third. I wonder if this thing is ever going to settle down, Paul. 20 laps of this, wild.
Farrell is now running in fourth place as Tommy Archer has picked up the lead, and we look back to that battle for second and watch them fight their way around this track. 87, that's Ray Kong. Then the beige number 34 of Lewis, that's the third place machine. And Bobby Archer in that bright red number 32 is running in fourth place.
Keep your eye on the beige number 34 as they go under the bridge. He is indeed shortening that distance between himself and the second place runner, the 87 Scarlet and Gray Mitsubishi of Ray Kong. And here, on the inside is 34, that's Steve Lewis, and he takes over second spot, and now he's got Tommy Archer out in front of him.
Lewis, number 34, uses the draft as they came toward turn 10 to get past Ray Kong. And now he appears to have a little better exit on that corner. But take a look at this, the 32 and 5 combination. What a draft being set up by Bobby Archer and Peter Farrell as they come to the inside as well. It's now a 4-way battle for third place.
A lot of these drivers, Paul, now starting to find some unwanted visitors attaching themselves to the rear bumper. It's okay if it's your teammate, but you don't want to give a tow to the enemy.
There's Bobby Archer moving to Lewis's outside as they come through the faster section of the course. This is simply a matter of placement and power. Can Lewis get past Archer? Well, 3 trucks go off the course. That's the number 6 machine of Max Jones as he takes a bouncy ride, finally gets it back under control. And these trucks really perform well when you consider how high the center of gravity is. They're very controllable.
And it looked as if Max Jones might have got a little help from number 87 Ray Kong in going out into the grass there, but that little bump didn't bother Max at all. He's an off-road veteran, as we talked about earlier. But I tell you, Paul, they're running about 115 miles an hour into turn 1, averaging over 80 miles an hour around this course. That means they're only lifting a couple of places, if ever.
And Peter Farrell, number 5, is now around Ray Kong for fourth place.
There's just terrific competition for any number of spots out here on this racetrack, particularly for that second place. And that is Bobby Archer, the red 32 Jeep Comanche, and he's being challenged again by that pesky beige truck, the Toyota number 34 of Steve Lewis. That's the race for second place right now. There it is.
Lewis sitting right on his rear bumper at number 34. Bobby Archer, number 32. The fight is for second. Tommy Archer, there he is, the leader, number 33. You take a look back as we go all the way through the top positions on this field. There's Spencer Lowe, number 7. He is currently running 8th.
And he wants the 7th position from the yellow and white number 20 of Steve Saleen. Saleen, who led it, Paul, has fallen way back, and partially that's due to the Ford Ranger. They sit higher. They just push a lot more air because of the body frame combination. They just can't get the roof line as low. Remember, they're measured from the body, not the frame, to that 8 inches.
Here's Spencer Lowe as he comes to the inside of Saleen, tries to get past, and indeed he does. Now he's taken 7th away from Saleen. Spencer Lowe moves up.
And he better move up even further, Paul, if he's to continue his dominance. Well, I say dominance. There's only been 2 races, but his Nissan trucks have won both of them.
Tommy Archer is still the leader. The battle now is for 5th place as Spencer Lowe has set sights on the Ford truck of Steve Potter, the noted motorsports journalist, just in front of him. Saleen drops back just a bit as they head for the first turn. Good drafting situation here. Down to the inside comes Spencer Lowe. Does he have enough of a roll to get past? He comes up behind Ray Kong alongside Steve Potter. He's got Potter past. Can he get in behind Ray Kong? They come unsettled a little bit as they come out into clean air. No, Kong maintains his position. Now, Spencer Lowe comes to the inside again. Again, he continues to worry Ray Kong, and Steve Potter is right there looking for an opportunity. You see, Saleen has also moved up and joined this fight.
Well, Ray Kong was trying to break that draft with Spencer Lowe, get away from him where he wasn't inadvertently helping him, and right now he's been able to do that. But here down on the inside comes number 4. That's Steve Potter making a nice move.
Potter forces Lowe off of the track. They didn't touch one another. Potter just made a nice clean move to the inside, and Lowe fell off the lip on the left-hand side of the race course. So Spencer Lowe, who had moved up to do battle for 6th, has now dropped back into the 8th position. Spencer Lowe with a nice little climb through the circuit, but then got in confrontation with Steve Potter, and Potter held his own. We're back at the front of the field now. Nothing has changed here. 33, Tommy Archer leads it, followed by Steve Lewis, and then Peter Farrell with a neat battle for 4th, now developing. We'll be back with more from Brainerd International Raceway.
Here's some fans who planned ahead for their visit to Brainerd International Raceway. They probably knew there was a huge, spacious infield, and they could ride their bikes from one course area to another to get a different viewpoint on our Coors Racetruck Challenge Series event going on right now. And the Archer brothers have swapped positions in the standing. It's now number 32, Bobby leading. Steve Lewis well knows where they are. He's got one in front and one in back. Tommy Archer running 3rd behind the Lewis Toyota.
And Peter Farrell can maintain 4th, but he's still having to hold off a whole pack to stay there. Back at the lead of the field now, that's Bobby Archer. Right behind him is Lewis, and Lewis has been worrying him constantly. The interval back to 3rd place. There's the 33 machine. That belongs to Tommy Archer. And right behind him is Peter Farrell, and then Ray Kong, then Steve Saleen, then Steve Potter.
You know, we should point out that these trucks, as well as the showroom stock cars we showed you from yesterday, are required to run on street radial tires. So they're running on the kind of tires that you and I use, Paul, and the kind of trucks we'd buy with just safety modifications. And you know, they're running so close together. Obviously, this talented group of drivers feel very secure in these little trucks.
And Steve Saleen comes to the inside of Ray Kong, and Saleen picks up 5th place. But look at Kong. He comes right back after him. You know, at first glance, you wouldn't think that the idea of racing trucks on smooth asphalt really would be this entertaining or exciting, but it's really wonderful. Again, drafting critical. There you see Saleen taking the wide exit to the turn, and now Steve Potter is going to try Ray Kong for 5th place. But instead, he drops back in. We come back to the front of the field. That's Bobby Archer, number 32, out in front. But right behind him, and where he has been glued for some time now, is the 34 truck of Lewis. They've been locked right together. Of course, in overall speed, that gives them both an advantage. They're creating quite a hole in the air, quite a draft with Lewis tacked in behind Archer there. Now, will he dart out and try to get to the inside at the end of this long straightaway? Lewis sits right there. Steve Lewis, number 34, that beige machine in 2nd position. Look how close he's tucked up behind the Archer truck, the number 32 machine. The battle is for the lead. And in the first turn, he says, no, we won't try it here. Let's go down to the Archer pits now, where another member of the Archer clan anxiously watches this fight. Steve?
Well, Paul, I'm in the Archer pits, and the Jeep Comanche crew, they're plenty concerned about that Toyota who's just glued himself to the back of Bobby Archer. Now, that's using the draft against your opponent. He's using Bobby's draft very effectively, the Toyota.
Yeah, he is. They're kind of crisscrossing on their way down the straightaway so Tommy can catch up. And right now, they're slowing down. I can hear him talking, and Tommy's gaining, so
he's trying to get Tommy up there, as we so often say, as a dance partner.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see if it all works for him.
So the Archer brothers working back and forth as we watch the race for 4th place. Number 5, that's Peter Farrell. Ray Kong just behind, then Steve Saleen, then Steve Potter. All 4 fighting it out for 4th place as they string out just a bit now. Number 5, Peter Farrell, is 4th. Now the fight is for 5th place. Ray Kong is able to hold off Steve Saline. Steve Potter 6th in just behind, as all 4 trying to occupy 4th place. Here comes Saline inside Kong. Can he hold him off? He has the better line into the corner. Saline slides in front of Kong and picks up 5th.
That was a fine piece of race truck driving by number 20, Steve Saline. We saw him yesterday, so competitive in the GT Mustang. But this is a fellow who loves these little trucks. He told me it is so much fun. Now, they're not a streak down the straightaway, he said, but you've got to get in one to understand just how recreational this whole thing is. It's just terrific. And we have got still that, and here is Saline. He's going to tackle another one, Paul.
Saline comes to the inside once again. This time his object is the 5 machine of Peter Farrell. It's a fight for 4th place, and Saline has it. So Saline, who was the early leader, then got sucked well under, dropped back into the field, now fighting his way up and occupies 4th.
And Paul, look at this. That same draft continues between Bobby Archer and Steve Lewis. Again, as we did the last lap. Let's see. Yes, he is going to try to use the draft to pass. Or is he? Yep, he moves outside, or moves inside rather, into turn number 1. Has he got enough momentum? Did Archer give him enough of a tow?
Archer on the outside. Lewis still tries to keep the foot down. Both of them are flat on the floor. Archer runs off the left side of the circuit just a little bit. They are still nose to nose as they're coming for the slower section of the course now. Lewis should have the better line here. Archer should be pushed to the outside. Lewis maintains his line, inches his way ahead. It's still a battle for the lead as Archer now comes back. Still nose to nose for the lead.
Oh, it is a tremendous race. Woo, and look at Lewis. He hung the right wheels off the course, but that didn't slow him down. If anything, it gave him a better line. Uh-oh. Here comes the number 33 truck of Tommy Archer. This could be bad news for Lewis. And look at Bobby. He now has a hood in front of Lewis, and sneaking in on the inside is the sibling.
Bobby Archer has the lead. Tommy Archer is now in and fighting for 2nd place. Can Lewis hold on the inside line? Lewis drops into 2nd place, but the Archers now working in concert with one another. The 32 machine is Bobby. He has the lead. And then Lewis tucks in behind Bobby, tries to keep Tommy Archer out of the fight. He has a better line coming into this corner. Drops in behind Bobby once again. Lewis still battling, trying to get the lead. At the same time, trying to hold off Tommy Archer for 2nd place. A tremendous fight at the front of the field as you could throw a blanket over 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Still, Bobby Archer out in front. Lewis pulls away from Tommy just a bit. Lewis still riding in 2nd. They disappear under the bridge. Out onto a short straight, heading for the 10th and final turn now. It is still Bobby Archer that leads as they begin their turn in toward the long straightaway. And if drafting is going to work, it'll work coming into this corner. And look at that. Tommy Archer comes inside Lewis, but again, he can't hold him. Here is the key straightaway now. Tommy Archer is running out in clean air and then drops back in. It's a 3-truck draft.
Lewis has raced with the Archer brothers many, many times. He knows right now, Paul, that if he makes any kind of an error and falls back to 3rd, that he is sunk. His chances of winning are pretty nil. He's got to see at least where he is or lead.
So they run together. Bobby Archer, then Lewis, then Tommy Archer. Will they pull out of the draft and fight for position in the 1st turn? All 3 maintaining position now. Looks like they're going to stay. They close up, tap bumpers with one another at high speed. The fastest section here of Brainerd International. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Bumper to bumper as they work their way around this circuit. The draft working as an advantage to all 3. A nice, long, smooth pull through the air as 1st, 2nd, and 3rd continue their fight.
They look like one long truck with 3 cabs. We'll be back to Brainerd International Raceway.
We're back at Brainerd International Raceway. I'm Paul Page with Steve Evans. We're here for the Coors Racetruck 60-miler. Nice fight for the lead. Even better battle, 4-way fight for 4th place. Currently, Ray Kong in 87 is 4th, but he's being challenged by Peter Farrell, Steve Saline, and Steve Potter. As we look back to the front of the field, Bobby Archer in 32 is leading, and his brother, Tommy Archer, is at the back of his truck and pounding on Steve Lewis's back door, trying to pick up 2nd place.
Tommy Archer, Paul, is trying every trick in the race driver's book to get that 2nd place away. And look at this. Lewis is now challenging for the lead. He got a little tired of being bumped from the back by Tommy, and Tommy is going to stick with him. They may both blow by brother Bobby. No, Bobby's going to sneak right back in and hold on to 2nd. And look at this fight.
This is the battle for 4th place. That's Ray Kong in it. But at the same time, Steve Saline comes to the outside and Peter Farrell to the inside. Both of them knocking on the back door of Ray Kong, but Kong maintains position. The battle for the lead on the pit straight now. There he is, the new leader, 34, Steve Lewis. Bobby Archer right behind, and brother Tommy just behind him. Now Lewis knows he has to maintain this position. If he gives anything at all to the Archers, then they'll take over, and once they're hooked up, they're gone. Steve Lewis leads it, but look how close, right on his bumper, is Bobby Archer. Now, let's talk about the draft just one more time. When you have a single vehicle, it makes a hole in the air and it gets turbulent behind it. The more vehicles that you line up one behind the other, the smoother that whole bubble in the air becomes, and the faster everyone can go. The leader literally can tow second and third place along, and second and third place can lift up on the gas a little bit because they're riding in that vacuum. Well, the leader at the moment is the base 34 truck of Steve Lewis. Bobby Archer is second. Tommy Archer is third.
And the interval continues to grow between third and fourth position. Ray Kong back and forth because of what you just described. The three of these got linked up, and they're gone.
In the meantime, back battling for fourth place, there's 87 Ray Kong being passed by Peter Farrell. Farrell now has fourth place, and Steve Saline, the 20 truck, drops into fifth. This has been a fight right from the word go as well, and Kong has been using the brakes very heavy. Many corners we've seen white smoke pop off those front tires as Kong slams on the brakes. A little smoother ride for this 5 machine of Peter Farrell as Steve Saline moves in and begins to challenge for fourth.
Well, the brake bias is adjustable in these trucks, and you may find Peter Farrell transferring some of that bias to the rear and taking a little off the front because obviously it wants to smoke those street radials on the front, not the rear. Look at Saline hunting around for a place to get around Peter Farrell. Saline looking everywhere, but decides rather than risk spinning it out or taking both of them out of the race, he's going to wait for a safer place to pass. He's got a good opportunity here.
Off of turn 9 to one of the key passing sections on the course, the approach to turn 10. Saline right behind Farrell. Farrell is fourth place right now, the number 5 truck. Saline in number 20. They come onto the long, nearly mile-long straightaway here. Saline pulls out, tries to run in clean air of his own. Will he get the job done? He has more power than Farrell, and he moves past Farrell on this long straightaway. Now the question is, can he hold it? Farrell now has the opportunity to draft. That's Ray Kong just back a bit. And here he comes as Peter Farrell pulls out and tries to draft inside Saline, picking up that toe into turn 1. Can Farrell hold on to it? He's past Saline, and Farrell comes back to fourth.
Some of the best race truck driving we've seen out there. They may not have the most powerful iron, but some of the brilliant driving has been by the gentlemen in those 2 trucks, Peter Farrell and Steve Saline. They're just a joy to watch at any speed.
Here comes Ray Kong. He's looking for fifth place as he comes alongside Saline, pushes Saline to the outside, and Kong now has fifth place. You know, Steve Evans, the nice thing is without power, the drivers have to be very delicate. Now, these are not awesome powered machines, so really what counts here is the ability to balance the truck and get it around the corner.
And what these fellas tell me, Paul, if you make one little mistake with a high horsepower car, you get it back pretty quickly. Make any kind of a bobble with one of these, and you're going to lose truck lengths instantly.
That's why you see some of the Formula 4 drivers like Evans coming up into this category. In Formula 4, situation very much the same. Balance of the car, power isn't going to save you at all. You have to be very smooth and very graceful.
And a lot of factory pride at stake. There's at least 4 hardcore factory teams here. And you know what they say, Paul, win on Sunday, sell on Monday. And that may be equally as true with trucks as it is with cars.
The pickup trucks have become very popular in the off-road series and in Mickey Thompson's off-road stadium series, now here on smooth asphalt. The opportunity to watch these trucks move around on a course really designed for sophisticated sports cars is providing more excitement than one might expect.
And getting back to the factory battle there as well, Paul, many times these days a young man's first car is not a car at all. It's a truck because they're very affordable. And the factory image in road racing as well as off-road is going to be very, I think, responsible for some sales.
Even though we know that they've done a great deal with the development of suspensions for trucks, it's surprising to me to see how well they really handle as they work their way around here. Suspensions, of course, work in concert with tires. It's a showroom stock class for all practical purposes, so there's very little they can do. So the factories have done a wonderful job in preparing the suspensions to be able to get around these corners at high speed. High speed is exactly what you're looking at. As once again, first, second and third, rolling nose to tail in the first turn. This is the battle for fourth place as Celine comes to the inside now, trying to hold on to fourth place. And look at Ray Kong trying to push him right on through. Steve Potter running in his own air up on the high side, and his teammate Peter Farrell is down on the inside. Celine maintains position with the help perhaps of a little shove from Kong. But that action may have cost somebody a little bit of spoiler as we saw debris fly off the back of the machines as they passed through turn 2. Steve Celine holds on to fourth place by his fingertips, trying to make the truck as wide as he can. Ray Kong is on the outside now. Peter Farrell rides back in sixth place as Kong pulls up, nerfs Celine again. Some rough driving here by Kong. He's been extremely aggressive the entire run. Now, we said they can't do much with suspension. One thing they can work with here is their tire, and they've learned some lessons from the showroom stock cars. Earlier, Steve Evans took a look at the tires.
I was walking by the Yokohama tire truck in the paddock area, and I saw something kind of weird. A trash basket full of rubber strips. Look at this, huh? Strange stuff. Well, it comes from inside the truck because they have a machine in there that shaves these street radial tires, and that's allowable. What they're trying to do is get more rubber onto the racetrack for traction. But the rules also say they have to leave 2/32 of an inch of tread. Now, I know that's 1/16, but in the tire industry, they always measure tread in 30 seconds. Now, I asked them what they do with all of this rubber, and they said, oh, we just throw it away. Boy, if we could think of something to do with this, you know, we could make a fortune. I don't know what. If you got any ideas, let me know.
Steve Evans always trying to make a buck. Well, as you can see by the pace car, the field is under a full force caution now. The report is debris in turn 6. So while we're under yellow, we'll take a break for these messages, and we'll be right back.
Cross Lake is formed by Pine River Dam, one of a series of dams built over 100 years ago by the Army Corps of Engineers to help control the flooding of the Mississippi River by limiting the contributions of its tributaries. They found other ways to do that now, and we've found other ways to race this weekend.
That's right, Steve, with the Coors race trucks. We're under yellow. Steve Lewis is the leader, followed by the Archer brothers. And earlier, Steve took a look at the tires.
The tire rule for the race trucks is really pretty simple. You can't use racing tires. You have to use street radials, and you can't use a tire any bigger than a P215/60 series. Other than that, you're on your own. Well, that's good, because that means there's competition among tire manufacturers. Now, the Archer Brothers Jeep Comanche here, they've got Goodyear tires on it, but also in the pits you'll find, there's so many of them, I had to write it down. Goodyear's, as I said, BF Goodrich, Yokohama, General, Toyo, and Firestone, and there's some others as well. Now, who really wins in all of this? We do, because when tire companies compete like this, you can bet that to win races, we're all going to get better tires.
Well, Steve, we're back under green, and take a look. It's Tommy Archer now leading his brother, and Steve Lewis is trying to hold off Steve Celine.
But the man who really took advantage of that full course yellow was Steve Celine. He had lost sight of the leaders, and now he is trying to make a move on Lewis's tan Toyota truck there. And even though they're from different teams, Lewis Toyota, Celine with the Ford Ranger, they are teamed up and helping each other here, Paul, because that's the only way either one of them will beat one of those Jeep Comanches of the Archer brothers.
Celine now pushing Lewis. Can he push him into second place? The Archer brothers separate. That's Tommy Archer on the inside with the lead. Bobby to the outside. Lewis comes alongside Bobby. For the moment, Lewis has second place. Can he hold on? Celine closes up in fourth. But the question is Lewis. Can he maintain that position? He's tucked in behind right now. Tommy Archer is the leader. Lewis is alongside Bobby in second place. Bobby with a favorable line into the slower section of the course. Now Bobby comes into second place. Lewis pulls alongside, comes in behind Tommy. Lewis now has second. Can he hold on to it, though? As Tommy Archer drives just a bit off of the course, trying to maintain his position. Lewis with second place definitely now. And Bobby Archer drops back to third, while Steve Celine closes in behind Bobby Archer.
You know, Paul, I was surprised to see the Archer brothers split up that easily. I would have thought they'd have tried to hold on to their dams as long as they possibly could. That allowed this man back into second place. That really surprises me.
Steve Lewis with second place now begins to pull up and actually pushes Tommy Archer in that bright red number 33. They come for the 10th turn, the final turn on the course, and can Lewis used this opportunity to get past. This has been a critical corner for most of passing. It leads to the longest straightaway. So good maneuvering through this turn sets the position for passing in the first turn.
If you were Lewis, would you want to pass right now, Paul, or would you wait till the last turn and the last lap?
I think my positioning would be one of wait and watch. Find out what Tommy Archer is going to do and find out where he is vulnerable. We still got a couple of laps left. I'd find out if I could get up behind him, if I could use his draft, and if I could, where I could get past him. Now, it seems that this turn that we're approaching, the first turn, is critical in terms of using the draft to slingshot pass.
I wonder what Tommy Archer is thinking right now. Should I maybe let him around and link back up with my brother and be in the catbird seat that Lewis now occupies? I think he's wondering about that right now. Tommy Archer, the number 33 truck, out in front.
Well, if I were Tommy Archer, I'd want about a 15-foot wide rear bumper to try and keep everybody back there, because obviously there is a three-car challenge for the lead. There comes Lewis. Will he pull to the inside now? We're heading for a slower section of the course. The turn is to the right. Lewis ducks past the inside, closes the door on Tommy Archer, and Lewis picks up the lead. Bobby Archer is third. Steve Saleen still maintains fourth.
Just as soon as Lewis made his move to pass Tommy Archer, brother Bobby instantly got right in behind that number 33 truck to set up the draft one more time.
So now as they come out of the slower section of the course, will the Archer brothers begin to set up a draft? If they can do so, then the main straightaway will become the key position for passing. Lewis has the lead. The Archer brothers run second and third, and Steve Saleen runs fourth. At the moment, there is no challenge. And if you take a look at the sides and fronts of these trucks, little pieces dangling off here and there, that gives you an idea of how close the fighting has been throughout this run.
Well, this has really been more like bumper truck than it has anything else. Everybody confident in their safety equipment, particularly Ray Kong. As you said, he was really out there aggressively driving. We saw the Spencer Lowe team. They did more off-roading than on-roading, apparently missing their favorite habitat. But all in all, this has just been an incredibly exciting event with these mini trucks.
Again, they get ready to make that right-hander that brings them back to the main straightaway. Bobby Archer didn't seem as if he could keep up with his brother Tommy. As they come on to the main stretch now, they're strung out equally. First, second, and third running together. That's Lewis and then the two Archer brothers.
Well, this is the last lap as of right now as Steve Lewis crosses the start-finish line. And let's see what the Archer brothers are up to. What do you think they're playing? Well, here's the plan developing right now. Tommy Archer going to try to get the Toyota on the inside of turn number one. Here comes his brother up into the draft. Can they both get Lewis?
The Archer brothers sail past Lewis into the first turn. The draft works. That's exactly what we talked about. I thought that the move by Lewis was just a little too early. I would have saved maneuvering for the last lap. He did not. The Archer brothers took advantage of it. Now they're hooked up, nose and tail. The question here is, we have a team. We have brothers. We have a whole Archer clan. Are they going to stay together on this track? Well, in the Archer pit right now, they're talking about it. What are they going to do? Will these two guys battle back and forth with one another? Steve Evans is moving over to the Archer brothers pit. And now let's go down there with this report on the Archer team.
On the last half of the last lap, Paul, I'm down in the Archer Brothers pit area, and everybody here has their fingers crossed and kind of mumbling to themselves, go, 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 because neither of the brothers is talking right now. They're a little busy out there, as you might imagine. So no one in this pit is going to know who wins this race until they come out of that final turn.
Well, one thing's for certain, these guys are no longer in control. Everything that's going to happen is going to happen between Tommy and Bobby Archer. And if it becomes too serious, then Steve Lewis, who runs off the course there, he's losing very, very important time. He really needs to be in contact with the leaders, because I was about to say, if their battle gets too serious, then this man could inherit the lead. But Steve Saleen, riding back in fourth place now, is starting to challenge Lewis.
Well, Steve Lewis is braking as late as he can in every one of these final turns, trying to pick up some of that distance he's now lost for a fellow who was leading just a few moments ago to be back in third. And here comes another pass between the brothers.
Bobby Archer comes to the inside. This is the last turn of the race. Archer to the inside, Archer to the outside, but it's Bobby with his nose ahead right now. It looks like they're going to be nose to nose coming to the checkered flag. Tommy Archer and Bobby Archer are battling it out, and Bobby Archer pushes his nose just ahead at the checkered, and Bobby Archer wins here at Brainerd International, beating out out his brother Tommy by just a few feet as the Archer clan watches as the two roll down now side by side for the first turn with Bobby Archer the victor.
I'll tell you what, Paul, there was no setup whatsoever there. No predetermined agreement if they should be side by side, who would win. Just two race drivers, each giving it all he had.
Well, the Coors race trucks have made their run at Brainerd International, and in the last turn, Bobby Archer became the leader, then the winner. Now let's go to Steve Evans, who's with our new winner, Bobby Archer.
Well, Bobby Archer, I don't think we need to talk about anything but the last lap. What a stunner that was.
Thought it was pretty neat too. We didn't want to be leading in the last lap, with one lap to go, and it worked out just perfect. And I called Tommy and said, I'm coming, pull out. And he just got outside the Toyota. I gave him a big bump, and we went right on by. And then,
Gave your brother a bump.
Yeah. And then I drafted him into corner 10 and passed him.
Did you see what was happening with Steve Lewis at 34 Toyota?
Yeah. In fact, well, he was right there, but he
got off the racetrack a
He
little.
got off the track and gave us some breathing room, which was really nice.
Well, I tell you, I was in your pits, and you sure thrilled your crew. They were, thought they won the Indianapolis 500 down there. They were having a great time.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the second race for the Stroh's Jeeps, and the crew has been working 24-hour days. We've only had the trucks 4 weeks, and all the Jeep people are here and the Stroh's people are here, and it's really nice to win in front of the home crowd.
Minnesota, perennial green, but you added a little more green this weekend because the bulk of the prize money is going to stay right here.
That's all right with me.
Bobby Archer, one very happy man. The stats on the race are 8 lead changes, 1 caution, average speed, surprising 77 miles an hour. Let's go meet second place, Tommy Archer.
Well, Tommy, what did you think when your brother gave you that brotherly little bump?
I thought it was great because we're going down to the last lap. They gave us a 1 finger. We got down into 3, and Steve Lewis passed us. And I told Bobby on the radio, I says, we got him now because the old NASCAR draft, we got him going down the straightaway. And he tried to push us down a little bit so we'd slow up, and it didn't work because the Archer Brothers draft, the Stroh's draft, just went right on by.
Cute. It looked like Experience won that because he could match you on horsepower, if not outrun you a little bit.
Oh, yeah. No, his truck definitely had a little bit over on us today, but with the two of us working together, we had what Mark Donahue used to say, the unfair advantage. So the Stroh's draft came through again.
All right. Again, congratulations to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Archer Brothers finish first and second and keep the top prize money in their home state of Minnesota. Fastest lap of the race, though, turned by Steve Lewis. Finishing third, he's with Steve.
Well, Steve, anytime you become the filling in an Archer Brothers sandwich, you got some real problems.
You're right about that, and I've been there before. I know what the cream in an Oreo cookie feels like now. There's no doubt about that. But we had a real good race. There's no doubt about it. It's tough coming home to caboose on a train, but we had a real good race. Ran real close for a lot of time, and just couldn't say more about running with them. They were very professional in all they do, and there was no horsing around, no playing around, and it was just a great race.
You got the wheels off a little bit, kicked up some dust. Was that just trying a little too hard, maybe?
No, I believe I was looking in the mirror. I was looking in the mirror to see how close the Ford truck was behind me, and by the time I turned around and looked, there wasn't any asphalt left. There was nothing but grass and worms, and I was in it. So we got all 4 wheels off, but we kept them straight and kept our foot in it, so we didn't lose a whole lot. Had we not done that at turn 7 on the last lap, I think we'd have had a very interesting finish. Maybe the Ford might have won.
Well, thanks for being part of that 3-ring circus on the final lap. It was great.
Well, thank you, and I hope everybody got their ticket and money's worth.
I'm sure they did.
The race trucks certainly look like fun. You can be part of it by joining the Sports Car Club of America. Call for membership information. Well, we're done here at Brainerd, and Bobby Archer is our winner. Congratulations to him. Paul Page for Steve Evans. So long from Minnesota.